Welcome back to the Sunny Stampin' Studio. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make this quick and easy Christmas card. Why don't we get started? First thing you're going to need is a scrap of Whisper White cardstock. I'm using a stamp from the Christmas Punch stamp set. This is a level 2 Hostess stamp set in Stampin' Up's current catalog. And I've inked it up in basic black classic ink and punched it onto my Whisper White cardstock. I'm now going to grab Stampin' Up's wide oval punch, and I'm going to center it around the image, like so, and then I'm going to go ahead and punch the image out. You now want to grab some Old Olive classic ink and a wedge of stamping sponge. And what you want to do is to sponge just around the edge of this greeting piece. So as you can see, I'm holding my greeting piece in my left hand, and with my right hand, I'm just gently dabbing my sponge on top of my ink pad, and then holding it sort of straight up and down. I'm slowly and gently dragging it along the edge of my cardstock. I'm doing this slowly and carefully because I want to try to keep the Old Olive in between the edge of the image piece and then the black line inside, almost as though it looks like it were matted onto a piece of Old Olive cardstock. Next thing I'm going to do is to grab this label that was punched out of Stampin' Up's Lots of Tags die set and my Big Shot die. And I want to place some snail adhesive on the back and then center and stick it to my label. Like so. Next thing I want to do is to grab my foam mat and paper piercing tool, and I want to punch 3 holes fairly close together, like so. I've now got 3 brads that are from Stampin' Up's Bold Brights brad collection, and I'm going to insert 1 brad into each hole and then open up the prongs on the back. As you can see, by keeping the holes fairly close together, the brads look a lot more clustered, as though they were berries. So you now want to go ahead and open the prongs on the back. So as you see, the prongs will overlap somewhat, although you can kind of twist them around so that they're not all one on top of the other. And you can go ahead and set that aside for a moment. Next thing we want to do is to create our holly leaves. Now to do that, I used 2 different punches. I used a 1-inch circle punch, and I also used my small oval punch. Now I'm going to show you with a 1-inch circle punch, but the gist is the same. So you're going to do the oval one in exactly the same way, and then that way you're going to get a little bit of a longer leaf. So this involves a little bit of freehanding. Now I have no training in drawing, and I'm not a particularly good artist. So what I'm just kind of doing is I've drawn out sort of the shape of a holly leaf. I'm now going to grab a pair of tweezers, and I'm going to take my 1-inch circle punch again. And what I'm going to do is to slide this circle into my punch and then use my hand-drawn lines as a guide. So you can see I'm punching along the lines that I drew. This is a very fun and easy way of creating your own holly leaves. You are going to want to use tweezers for this, however, because I did find that it's so small it's virtually impossible to hold it. So once you have your holly leaf punched, you're now ready to sponge it. Like so. I'm now going to grab my card base, and this is a piece of 4 1/4 by 11-inch cardstock, and I've got a piece of designer paper from the Many Merry or Merry Moments designer paper collection, I think it's called. Actually, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a piece of my Real Red Polka Dot Grosgrain ribbon. And as you can see, I've put a little bit of snail on either side of the designer paper piece. So I'm just going to lay my ribbon across it like so. And then, actually I've already got the snail, so I don't have to do that again. And then I'm going to center it onto my card front. And I'm just visually centering it. You may find it helpful to align your card front with the lines on your grid paper. And I just find visually that that helps me do a bit better of a job of centering my DP. Next thing you're going to do is to grab your label and place a Stampin' Dimensional at the top and a Stampin' Dimensional at the bottom. And you can then go ahead and position that on your card like so. The last thing you now need to do is to put a piece of Stampin' Dimensional on the back of your holly leaves. And then, whoops, grabbed the wrong piece of holly. That's one that I had prepped for the video, but it's not sponged yet. So I'm going to grab the one that I just created, and using a piece of Stampin' Dimensional, I'm going to stick it onto my card. And then I'm going to do the same for the one I punched out of the oval. You can see here that when you create a holly leaf out of the oval, you end up with one that's a little bit longer. So I'm just going to position and stick that to my card. And there you have it. Your card is done. See what a fun and simple card that was? Well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I look forward to stamping with you again.